today's episode, I'm going to show you guys how I make plant-based green banana porridge. Hey beautiful people, I'm Gabby and this is Life with QUAINT. On this channel, I share videos about home, self-care, and motherhood. So if that sounds good to you, hit that subscribe button and turn your notifications on so that whenever I post a video, you'll be notified. To cook this, you need green bananas, cornmeal, a dried coconut, but if you don't have that, you can always use coconut milk powder, brown sugar, cinnamon leaves, vanilla, nutmeg, water, and salt. I won't be cooking this to a specific amount or quantity, so I'm not going to tell you, for example, oh, add like a cup of water. This is going to be something that you purely use your judgment for. You could call it that I trust my ancestors with this, because I don't really take measurements whenever I'm making green banana porridge. This is one of my favorite porridges, and it is a very popular porridge here in Jamaica. So let's get into making it. The first thing that you want to do is to prepare your green bananas. You're going to do this by cutting off the top, the bottom, and slitting down the back. You're going to put those in some water so that they can soak while we move on to the next step. This is going to make it so that you can easily peel the skin off of your bananas. The second thing you want to do is to crack the coconut open. I like to do this by hitting it on a hard surface or using a huge rock or a hammer to break it open. But once you get it open, you can go ahead and collect all the water that you get from it, given that you do get water from it at least. This can actually be used back in the porridge, and that's going to make it even more delicious. Then you're going to do a thing that us Jamaicans called oxing out the coconut. So you're going to take your knife or whatever instrument that you choose, and you're going to get the fleshy white part out of the coconut shell. You're going to take that and cut it into small chunks. This is going to make it easier for us to blend it. Once all of your chunks are in the blender, you can go ahead and add your coconut water at this point. However, you can use regular water, and the less water that you put, the richer your coconut milk will be. You can add any amount of water that you want. So if you want lots of coconut milk, then you can add more water. But for me, I like to put just enough to probably 2 times the amount of coconut that I have in my blender. Strain the coconut milk and add it to a pot. You can use a cheesecloth for this, and this will make it so that you won't get any fine particles in your coconut milk, or you could just use a regular blender. It works just fine. To the pot, you want to add a bit of salt and 2 cinnamon leaves. Be sure to rinse your cinnamon leaves before actually putting them into your pot. Too much salt means you're going to taste a lot of saltiness in your porridge. Too little salt means that you won't really be able to taste the sugar, because the purpose of the salt is to bring out the sweetener that you use later on. If you don't have a dried coconut, then you can just go ahead, open your packet of coconut milk powder, put that into your pot, and mix it in with some water. Beware though, because this already has salt, so you might not want to add as much salt as you would if you were using a dried coconut. Now we can get back to the bananas, and this is where we're going to peel them. You're going to notice that I actually like to leave on some of my banana skin because it's rich in iron, and that's something that's extremely good for you and good for me as a pregnant woman. Go ahead and peel off all your banana skin if you don't want any skin in your porridge. Trust me, it's actually going to blend out and you won't even notice that it's there. And once you've done that, you want to chop up your bananas into small pieces as well. Now you're going to take your chunks of banana and add them to the blender. add a bit of cornmeal as well. And the reason why we're adding cornmeal is to give the porridge more body. But you also want to be very careful, because if you add too much cornmeal, it could end up overpowering the bananas. Make sure that you are mindful with the quantity of cornmeal that you're adding. This is something that you may have to cook a few times before getting it perfectly. The first time I made porridge, I can say for sure that it was not the best. So you just want to practice as much as possible, especially since I'm not giving you quantities here. But you could always just mimic the quantities that you see me using here in this video. At this point, you're going to add water to your blender. Your water should come no more than about an inch or two above your ingredients. If it does come more than that, it's going to actually make your mixture watery and therefore make your porridge watery. You're going to blend your ingredients and blend until they are smooth. So if you need to blend for like 5 minutes, blend until everything is smooth. You're going to notice that the ingredients will change from yellow to a dark cream color. That's because of the bananas and the iron that's in them. If you're noticing that your mixture is having a hard time blending, then you can add some more water. That's why I say you want to add just a bit first and then add as you go along, rather than having too much and then trying to make that thicker. But if you do need to make it thicker, you can add more bananas and more cornmeal. An alternative for cornmeal is oats, but I feel like oats is very overpowering, so that's why I prefer to use cornmeal. The next thing you're going to do is to put your coconut milk to boil on the stove. You want to make sure that you have this on a low to medium flame so that it doesn't boil over, and be sure to pay attention to your pot. At this point, you can also add some sea moss gel like I'm doing here. I love adding sea moss gel to my porridges because it adds more nutrients. Sea moss gel is very nutritious. Once my coconut milk starts boiling, I like to remove my cinnamon leaves because I don't like sharing my porridge and finding cinnamon leaves in my bowl. So I just prefer to take my cinnamon leaves out before I actually put the mixture in, which is the next step. So you're going to take your mixture and you're going to pour it into your boiling coconut milk. You want to do this while you're stirring, and I specifically like to use a wooden spoon. Of course, there's nothing wrong with using a plastic spoon or a metal spoon, but I just feel like a wooden spoon works best for me. On a low flame, let the porridge boil. Because you've added cornmeal to your porridge, it's going to be bubbling and popping a lot, which can burn you. So be sure to wear an apron, mittens, or just turn your fire down. You can also add more water if you notice that your porridge is bubbling a little bit too much or it's being too vicious for you. Another alternative is to just cover it with a pot cover so that it doesn't splash all over the place and mess you up or mess your kitchen up. You want to make sure that you're stirring it regularly though, because this will help to prevent lumps. You might notice lumps in the beginning when it just starts to boil and you're stirring it, but just keep on stirring and those lumps will disappear. This is another reason why I like to blend my cornmeal with my bananas, because that alleviates the issue of there being lumps in the porridge when it's being added to the fire. After 10 minutes, add a tablespoon of vanilla. This is going to add more spices to your porridge, and then you want to make it boil for another 5 minutes. Once those 5 minutes have passed, or you have checked to see that your porridge is near done, you can turn your fire off and grate some nutmeg into it. This is going to make your porridge even more fragrant and tasty, just like the vanilla. Now you want to sweeten your porridge, and you want to make sure that you kind of give your porridge a little bit of time before you try tasting to see how sweet it is, because if you try to taste it while it's too hot, you're not going to be able to accurately tell how sweet it really is. So I like to use brown sugar to sweeten mine, and I don't like to put too much, because if you put too much, it's gonna be sweet. And the worst thing is sweet porridge. Actually, that's probably not the worst thing, because I'm sure a lot of you like sweet porridge, but I like to just add a bit of sugar first, stir that in, and then I'll taste my porridge, and if I feel like it needs some more sugar, I'll add more sugar. Now you can serve it with your favorite side and enjoy. One of my favorite things to do is to add cinnamon crackers to my porridge, but you can also add fried breadfruits, fried green plantains, bread, and anything at all that works for you. If this video was helpful, I want you to give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to the Life with QUAINT channel. Check out this video where I show you how to make Jamaican banana bread. Thanks for watching and I'll see you on the next one.